Hello everyone. So I got this young horse here today, and I'm gonna just try to go really slowly through some of the things that I try to get the horse feeling of. She's pretty soft right now, so she's letting me just kind of go slow. Sometimes they won't do that. I mean, you might have to move around a little bit first to get the horse paying attention, but I try to get my horses to where they'll wait for me and just go slow. And so I just start out by just asking really small questions, just a lift of the rein. And I try to avoid the contact in this lift. If you watch the heel knot a little bit, you'll see it's just moving. It's not really pulling the heel knot up. It's a slight touch and a slight touch to the neck. The main thing I'm doing in this point is I'm finding the center of my seat where the horse moves. It's kind of rocking me on my sit bones. And then I'll start to ask little questions of her with these light lifts. And at first it's just kind of real simple, maybe just one side for the most part. But I believe the most important thing is how I move my body. So I'll kind of round my back up a little bit as I pick up on the rein. And as I lift, depending on if I get enough shape, I'll just lift and open up the bar pad. So I'm using my sit bones to work my bar pads on my saddle. So you don't want to put all your weight on the bar pad that you're trying to move or trying to go towards, right? So your inside front bar pad, you don't want to put your weight there if you want the horse's leg, foot to move in that direction. So you want to just kind of try to open it up, ask the horse to move, and then return to the center. And so I'm getting her to feel my seat. The California bridle horse, when you get there, you don't want to be using the reins too much. You've got ropes in your hands, you've got things going on. And so getting them to work off your body is really essential. You want them, when you round yourself up, you want them to come into you. If you tip to the front side of your sit bones, they start to step back. But right here, I'm asking for the smallest thing and watching for resistance. Right, if she resists a little bit, I'll try to adjust my seat where she can find it a little easier. I'll touch her there and look for that first reaction of her changing. So there she rocked back a little bit. And as soon as she rocked back, I kind of opened up the bar pad on the front by moving my solar plexus slightly to the outside of her neck. And as soon as she starts to walk through, I just center my body back in the center of the saddle. You don't want to load a bar pad as they go through the turn, because then it doesn't work correctly. And so they end up there's a resistance in their body. What I want to do is I want to set up the turn, kind of explain to her, draw her back, and then I come up and move my rib up on that side, the direction I want to go, and allow her to come through. And then I just float her back the reins and let her go through. If I get one's head tipped, I get out of their way a little bit and then I encourage them to walk forward. They should just go. You don't want to just pull the horse around. Especially in a hackamore, that's the worst thing you can do, because their heads will get really crooked and really twisted. And so my goal is to keep this horse right in the center. And so if you drew a line between its chin, through its center of its neck up into your solar plex, you could, into the center of your chest, into your spine, you'd want that line to always match up. The horse may be bent around, but if you look straight on, you can see where that heel knot lines up to your center of your chest. And this is, you know, not that big of a deal now. Sometimes you can get more stuff done pulling them, but it doesn't go make a good bridle horse. The bridle horse has to stay balanced there, because when you go to one hand, everything changes. So my ideas here is just to get her, you know, try to get to where there's no resistance at all. So I just kind of, I don't do that. It's just by movements and touches. When I shift my balance, she starts to shift with me. So the first thing I want my horses to do is kind of put themselves together, gather up. And so I'll round my back and I lift my body, and then the reins. Always one is a little more emphasized than the other. You don't pick up both reins evenly. There's always an emphasis on one side or the other, a little bit more one way or the other. So I'm asking her there, and she wasn't really giving me any bend in her neck, or couldn't feel much bend in her body, so I'll just push her away first. So that way I'll sit a little bit deeper on the inside sit bone and open up the outside bar pads just for shape. As soon as she gives me the shape, I go back to the middle, or even maybe slightly to the outside sit bone, and follow through. A lot of times if I move my head a little bit over my outside reins, they'll float through there a lot better. And then I release it and let the action happen. So a lot of times we want to set it up. So I'll start the action, whatever it is, wherever I get her look, I'll start the action and then release it and let her come through. If she gets a little bit out of whack, I'll kind of adjust my body and try to center things up again. And that's using the outside rein, right? People get stuck using just one rein, you know, and they just bend the horse, pull it around, and eventually the other side comes. But you always want to keep that balancing towards the center, because we want to work on keeping that horse in the center of that hackamore, in the center of the reins, in the center of the body, and to make a really good one-handed reined horse. That horse needs to learn to balance in there and not let either side really hit. It can be touched with an inside rein or an outside rein, and then it just finds the middle of it. Finds the middle of the hackamore, the middle of our body, and stays smooth throughout. And that's kind of what we're working on now. She's getting to where when my body changes, she's coming back a lot smoother and quickly. And so that's one of the things we want to develop. You see, as soon as I change my body here, how she starts bringing her nose in, softening. And that's pretty easy to do in a backwards motion, to get them to kind of push their nose in. But going forward, they're going to tend to want to push out. And a lot of that is just strength. But as we go, if they learn to stay softly balanced with that hackamore, they'll just continue to get better and better. We're looking for a lack of resistance, and hopefully this helps y'all, and you can see some things here that make your riding better. Take care.